want to talk with you guys a little bit today about spiritual bypassing. What is this? What do you do about it? Why is it happening? So let's talk about what spiritual bypassing actually is first, right? Because I think whether you've been in this community a long time or just a little bit, we've seen a form of this. And maybe this might be something too helpful if you are noticing some similarities between some issues maybe you're having, and this relates in any way. So spiritual bypassing is when an individual kind of comes into the spiritual community and is either doing research, they are kind of adapting some of these modalities, they're trying to create practices, right? But the problem is that they're doing it kind of for the wrong reason. They have a lot of issues inside themselves that they are not addressing. And so instead of addressing those, they are kind of using spirituality like a badge or a band-aid over a bullet hole in order to kind of help get them out of this mucky, difficult situation that they're sitting in, right? And this doesn't work very well, unfortunately. And the reason that doesn't work is because spirituality is amazing. It can give you so many things. It can help empower you. It can help you grow. But there are some things that we have to fix in other ways, right? If somebody has substance abuse issues that are very serious, drugs or alcohol, if somebody has a lot of trauma or PTSD or emotional things, like, that's the therapy department. Like, and I'm a big fan of therapy. I like to go because I like to constantly be working on myself and my self-growth and my shadow work and all these things all the time. But there are some things that we have to address in other ways. And while spirituality can be an amazing complement to those other things you're trying to do, it's not a fix. It's like not a one-size-fits-all t-shirt. It's not going to work out for you. You really have to be doing the work in all of the areas if you really want spirituality to be something that really helps guide you and empower you and kind of removes things that aren't working, right? Like you are responsible as well. I have seen people walk into stores and buy everything, like candles and books and all of these tarot cards and this, that, and the other, and they think that buying those things is going to fix whatever's going on, right? And that's not necessarily the case. Now, why are people doing this? Well, they're doing it because whatever they're going through is very severe, right? So when you come across these people, you want to kind of be as empathetic and compassionate as you can. Sometimes, they cause a lot of disturbances, disruptions. They can be very difficult to deal with depending what level of spiritual bypassing they're on. And the reason for that is these people are in pain. They're really hurting. They don't know what's going on. Some of them do know what's going on, but having to look deep inside and address these issues, it's hard to look at. It's so hard to look at. They'll do anything else to avoid it. And that's why they kind of start grabbing onto these spiritual concepts and techniques and things. They want to fix it another way because fixing it the right way is difficult. And that level of pain, to kind of dig into that really deep and kind of try to dispel it, it's yucky, it's bad. It's not a place that they feel that they can go, right? So please do have compassion for these individuals. Now, what does this look like? Well, it can look like a lot of different things. One of the most basic things that I have seen is people who have a lot of information about a lot of different topics in the spiritual community, right? But the problem is while they are very intelligent, right? They have the information, but you look at their life and they're like, if you know all this stuff, why is this happening over here? What is this? Like, because this doesn't look, it's confusing. And the issue that's going on there is people, they have a lot of information, but they don't have the wisdom to apply it, right? And if you spend enough time in spirituality and you're really doing it the right way, you will come across those concepts. If you are really genuine and open to that and in that zone, you will get how to apply it. But if you're fighting all these other battles and all these other things are happening, you can't downshift into that space that you need in order to gain the wisdom that is there waiting for you, right? Another thing that you might see too is people sometimes, and I've had this in my classes before too, is that sometimes people will come into a class and they have kind of a spiritual ego, so to speak. So they come in and they kind of act like they know more than me. They tell me all these places and programs and places they've studied, right? Some of them will kind of try to take over the class a little bit, and what they're kind of trying to take over and explain is actually not really necessarily valuable or correct or whatever. They just kind of want to feel that recognition, right? Or that I know this, I'm important. and they try to show it in those ways. And so sometimes you'll come across people like that too. That's kind of a more subtle sort of thing that sometimes will happen. Another thing that I have noticed that does happen, which is a little bit more kind of dangerous, is that when people start practicing from an unhealed place or perspective, right? Whether it's a major issue or whether it's just a minor one, if your energy is not straight, if you are not clear, and you are not actively and consciously working on yourself, you can hurt people, right? So some people might, for an example, let's just say people are doing energy work, right? And they're doing energy work because they're having all this stuff inside and it makes them feel better to kind of try to help other people. If you are not actively working on it, those negative emotions and energy that you have, all that discombobulation, you are putting it into the people you're working on, even if you're not doing it on purpose, right? Sometimes it's a subconscious thing that happens. I will tell you from experience, I had somebody work on me. I didn't realize this was an issue they were having. I was really sick for like 3 or 4 months, really sick, right? And so you have to be very mindful and careful in trying to heal yourself through these things. If you're doing it incorrectly, you can hurt other people. So, and I know nobody wants to really intentionally do that. So that's something to be aware of. Something else too, I've noticed when people do magic, right? That should not be doing magic because they do it when they're super angry or because they have all this trauma and all these other unresolved issues that are going on. Then they try to place their issues on somebody else, and that's the object of their magical attack or whatever it is that they're doing. I have seen people blow out air conditioners, transformers, crazy things, because that energy is so unhealed and it is so intense. And I really have a lot of empathy for those people. I've been in some tough places in my life too, and it's heavy to deal with that. It's heavy. Now, what should you do if you come across somebody like this? What's the plan? Like, what's the game plan? You've got someone in your space. So a lot of times, unfortunately, some of these people, they don't want to look at the issue, right? That they need some healing. So sometimes if you want to try talking to them, that's your option, but you have to decide how receptive they are or not. Some people are not, and so if you do that, you'll probably get a lot of pushback, right? They might try to blame you, say, it's your problem, you're doing something wrong, it's not me. So be prepared for that. If somebody looks like they're open and you feel like you want to guide them a little bit, you can, but it is not your responsibility to heal anyone else. If you want to try to help get them to the right places, that's your prerogative, but it's not your job to facilitate their healing, right? It's an inside job. Everybody's got to be doing their own work, right? But you can help kind of guide people in whatever capacity feels right to you if they are open to the help, right? We can't push this on anybody. The other thing that I would probably say about this too, what you can do is sometimes you have to decide if this person is causing enough of a problem in your life where you need to separate yourself from them. Because if they're not getting the help and they're constantly throwing all this heaviness and sometimes people are creating issues too, like negative issues that you're forced to deal with. And so if this is something that's happening, or even if this person just genuinely makes you feel uncomfortable, right? That's your energy responding to them. So use your intuition and listen to yourself. And if you feel like that is necessary, it might just be time to kind of separate yourself from that person's energy. So those are some things that you can kind of do, but be aware that these people they're in a lot of pain and they're hurting. And so try to be as compassionate as possible when you're dealing with them, but also know too that you can allow them into your space or not, right? We all need to kind of be responsible for our own process and know how much we can help other people along the way and how much we can't. So hopefully that's helpful if you're encountering something. I know it's kind of a weird experience if it happens to you. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you need help dealing with anybody like this, or you're trying to make sense of anything, please let me know. I'd love to work with you if I can. And until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you guys have an absolutely beautiful day.